Hello, Pisces. There is a certain kind of magic, a certain kind of energy that's very special that appears when someone pushes to better themselves just for the pure sake of wanting to better themselves. That no matter what everyone else is doing, when you set goals for yourself and you push to better yourself just for your own sake, for the sake of those around you, life becomes sort of magical in those moments. Let's take Stanley here as an example. He set a goal for himself, right? This is during the times where everybody was trying to lose weight because there was a whole company-wide kind of bet going on where the branch that loses the most weight overall gets a few extra vacation days. Great reason to work out, right? Great reason to shed some pounds. But towards the end of it, everyone kind of started failing. Everyone kind of started eating cake again. But not Stanley. Stanley set a goal for himself. He didn't care about the company-wide goal of losing weight. He cared about his own goal to lose weight. This whole time he was walking up the stairs, he was even doing it in secret. He was doing it for himself because he wanted to better himself. And that is a super special type of energy that obviously we have here for you, Pisces. So you stand up, you put your fist in the air just like Stanley, because I am proud of you. And you deserve it. It's time to celebrate, Pisces. Justice. It's time. Things always balance, equilibrate. If things have been very one-sided lately, there is going to be a shift, a change. What I really like about this card, especially in this Thoth Tarot deck, is that, here I'll look for it, but the Justice card is not named Justice in this deck. It has changed because Aleister Crowley felt like justice wasn't the exact correct word for this card, because it's not about, something being unjust and, somebody with the sword making it just again. It's not about the justice that, that our country, is is calling justice right now. It's not about getting revenge on those that do bad. That is not exactly the right word for this justice type of energy, for this major arcana number 11. And I can't find it. I'm having a hard time finding it in this deck. Maybe it was because I haven't been paying much attention, because I've been talking. Oh, but I did find it almost at the very back. That's awesome. That's funny. This took a long time. Wait. Okay, so I had to double check because this was the number 11 and this was the number 8. But there was a reason he changed that too. But anyways, the justice and the adjustment, it got switched to adjustment because adjustment is a much more descriptive word for this energy. Right? This isn't about, getting justice. This is all about, moving something from one scale to the other so that they balancing out. That is all it is, right? Since energy can't be created technically, it can only be moved around, right? It can only be transferred. It has to come from somewhere, right? Not everything is free. It has to come from somewhere. That's this type of energy. So if we put more into this scale, well, it has to come from somewhere. So it just comes from this. It's all about balancing out an equation, just like you would in math. That is how simple it is if we take our feelings aside. It is just a math problem. It is it is making x equal to something that would satisfy the equation. And that's what this justice adjustment card is. But it's obviously gonna seem very different in our lives because we make a story out of everything with our mind. So just like justice is the same as a math equation, taking something from somewhere else. This justice was a word that's more of our story, of our perspective, and seeing it as like math, as just numbers, as energy has to come from somewhere. That is a better descriptive than justice. But we see it differently in our lives, right? The devil. Interesting. See, like, my view on the devil has definitely adjusted. And, that's like justice for the devil, right? That I don't see him as something bad or evil. And, oh, the devil made me do it, No. The devil is simple as a teacher who gives you a test. Now it's up to you to pass the test or not, right? But if you fail the test, is it the teacher's fault for giving you the test in the first place? Or is it your fault because you weren't able to pass the test? But we all tend to fail the test, and then we blame the devil for giving us the test in the first place, even though that's why we're here, to take tests, to learn, to, learn something new, to see things in a different perspective. Just like this justice card. Just like my view on the devil. Catholic view is very different. It's, oh, devil bad. Let's love everyone except for the devil. Well, that's not very godly, right? God includes everyone. So he is obviously including the devil. So what does the devil do then? Well, it is just a teacher who is giving you a test, and then it's up to you to listen to him or not. It's up to you to pass the test or not. Now, if we go back to the Stanley energy, right, he's setting goals for himself. He is giving himself that test, hoping he will pass. So we are both. That is the adjustment, right? We are both. We are the devil and we are these two playing the game, trying to learn something. You can, it's easy to know if you learn something if there's a test that you pass, right? See it like a school. Seeing things less seriously, huh? Just like the Catholic view on the devil is very serious, but my view now is very playful. He is just a homie that's there to do something. Without him, if he wasn't so big and strong, then we wouldn't train ourselves to get better, right? Like in any anime, any movie, any story, really, there is always a bad guy that is stronger. And the good guys have to, get stronger if they want to defeat the bad guys. And then, imagine the play keeps going on and the bad guy then gets stronger to defeat the good guys. And it's all about perspective on what's good and bad, right? That's why in Naruto, and the pain arc All right, pain, he says, it keeps going because the one wants to revenge, and then when he gets his revenge, then the other one sees it as something that was done bad to them, so now they want revenge, and now it's okay for them to go and hurt and attack, and then this is just, the cycle keeps on going. That's why Naruto wanted to stop it, and they don't want to kill, because that might stop this pattern that's been going and going. That wants to be adjusted, but you've worked at it for so long, so it's time. Healing. Yeah, it's time for that healing. It's time to take life less seriously. Time to have more fun. Heal all of these viewpoints that don't serve you any longer, because there is a better way to view life. There is a way different. There's always a better perspective. Maybe a more right perspective, right? I'm going to keep saying about the earth being flat and how people used to think that was the case, and now we know it's not the case, right? But it was right for them, but it led us to figure out the real truth, you know. We get closer and closer to the truth. When you find the truth, that is the ultimate healing. Because I think that's suffering, right? Is you suffering because you wish that things weren't the way they are, that the truth, what is happening, isn't happening the way it is. And that is why pain lingers for so long, because we wish to be elsewhere. That's why people are so glued to their phones, you know, because these are some bad times to be out here. Who would want to be living this life with everything that's going on right now? I would rather also be playing video games, be in a different world. But ultimate healing is being here now. Playfulness, yes, exactly right. I was just saying, take things less seriously, seeing things in a more playful manner. I will read this playfulness. I feel like it has something to say. It is the Page of Fire. Page of Wands. Movement, but playful movement, right? So a King of Wands would be more like this guy, more serious. Rules. Things have to be a certain way. Things have to be more serious. But the Page is the complete opposite. The Page is like a kid having fun. There are no rules. When you're a kid, really, you're just exploring the world as it is. Life is rarely as serious as we believe it to be. And when we recognize this, it responds by giving us more and more opportunities to play. The woman in this card is celebrating the joy of being alive, like a butterfly that has emerged from its chrysalis into the promise of the light. She reminds us of the time when we were children, discovering seashells on the beach or building castles in the sand, without any concern that the waves might come and wash them away in the next moment. She knows that life is a game, and she is playing the part of a clown right now, with no sense of embarrassment or pretense. When the Page of Fire enters your life, it is a sign that you are ready for the fresh and the new. Something wonderful is just on the horizon, and you have just the right quality of playful innocence and clarity to welcome it with open arms. It's time, or with a fist in the sky. Truth. See, it reminded me of truth. But we got truth here. Interesting, after fighting for so long, the swords are finally at a point. And the same point. They're on the same page. There's truth for now. But doesn't that feel so much better than so much fighting for so long? This playfulness is like, you yourself, everything in your body, all your cells that don't want to fight each other anymore, they decide to go on the same page. And then more and more opportunities to play are on the way. Knight of Swords, and they're coming fast. Look at that, like the wind. The wind's fast. A lot of swords energy ending it here. Right? So just like our own perspective, our own stories, like I was saying. It's time to start writing your own story in your mind with a new, more playful perspective. And that can be whatever you like. It can be whatever you want it to be. That is the cool thing about life. That is the main thing that the devil will teach us. Is that we can take responsibility for what we do. But that also means that we can create life the way we want it to, you know. And after being rule after rule after rule for so long, when the rules become more important than what the rules are protecting, then it's time for a shift. It's time to be more playful. Yes. Let's get some advice from the Office Oracle deck. Now, obviously, the biggest advice is time to be more playful. Yep, say goodbye to these old ways of thinking. Say goodbye to wishing to be somewhere else other than exactly where you are. Right? This is the grass is always greener card. Michael comes in. This is when Jim became manager, right? And Michael became a salesman again because you could make a lot more money being a salesman when the company got switched over. And Michael was like, yeah, money, but what he really ultimately wanted was to be manager. He would be okay with not taking as much money because what he really wanted to be was a manager. Right? It's not about the money, it's about what you do. That's more important. But the important thing is Michael says, you know what's funny? I used to stand in here and wish I was out there. Now I'm out there and I wish I was in here. Jim responds, well, the grass is always greener. And Michael says, except there's no grass out there. That's the cool thing, right? About the devil is that it shows you where the God is. Cool thing about not being playful, about being serious, is that it's very obvious what playfulness is. Just like me right now. I was taking things very seriously. And this wasn't so fun. But when I'm in the middle of it, really, when I'm here already talking, this is very much fun. And that is what you gotta be looking for. It's time. There are moments where we can affect change, right? Imagine having a soul. All those souls want to be in a human body. They think it's so cool. And while we're here as a human, we're like, man, boy, do I wish I was not here. I wish I was at the souls over there. Right? But right now we are human. And there are moments where we can affect change. For a few seconds every decade, we exist. These are those seconds. Tick. Storm the castle. Talk. Come on, tick. It's now or never. Talk. What say you? What say you, Pisces? You think it's time